Support for this project is provided by the Dairy Business Innovation Initiative through Fresno State University. Visit our website at dairypcc.net for more information and other resources in the dairy industry. Program funding for the PCC comes from the USDA. For more information on this and other programs, visit usda.gov for the PCC Dairy Business Innovation Initiative. Support for this podcast comes from the Department of Agricultural Education and Communication at Cal Poly. Visit aged.calpoly.edu to view our majors and support our programs. That's aged.calpoly.edu for the Department of Agricultural Education and Communication at Cal Poly.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to You, Me, and the PCC. I'm your host, Morgan Oliveira, and here with me is...
Hi, guys. I'm Henry Cremers, your co-host, and today we're joined by three whole guests, a new You, Me, and the PCC record. Could you guys introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure, I'll go first. My name is Felice Thorpe, and I'm a communications manager for Pacific Coast Coalition. I am a professional communicator. Love my job, and I work in the dairy industry.
Hello, I'm Soo-Yeun Lee. I am coming from Washington State University, School of Food Science in Pullman, Washington. I'm involved as a partner in PCC DBII grant, and I'm actually a sensory scientist in terms of expertise, taste science. So I will be participating in PCC DBII activity, giving webinars on sensory evaluation for dairy businesses.
And my name is Susan Pheasant, and it's a real honor to be with you here today. I wear a couple different hats. My original hat is as the director for the Institute of Food and Agriculture at Fresno State. And through that, I met Dr. Carmen Lacone, and she had this brainstorm idea of starting the PCC DBII. And with that, I became the cowkeeper. And so my job is to wrangle all of the business side of the grants and projects.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for coming here to be with us today. We're so excited to get to learn a little bit more about the PCC and all it has to offer. Just a little bit of context for our audience. The Pacific Coast Coalition is an initiative aimed towards providing support for dairy businesses across 6 Western states, focused on products that support sustainability efforts, innovative processing methods, and product line expansion that boost profitability. Before we get started with our podcast, how are we feeling today? How's everything?
It is a gorgeous day in San Luis Obispo.
Very true. It's not hot nor cold, so it's not bad.
We're actually coming from a dairy processing and innovation conference that is being held in Shell Beach.
Oh.
So this is our little side gig.
During lunchtime.
Oh my goodness. We owe you for that one.
Yeah,
no one can
breaks
take
for
away
you
my
guys.
lunch.
No, I think
For
I,
sure.
I think I owe. That was my hint.
Can you guys tell us a little bit about the conference? Just what's going on, the attendance there, what you guys are mainly focusing on?
Sorry. My focus is as my role with PCC and learning more about innovation, trends, meeting stakeholders that are part of the coalition, and I get to spend time with the 2 women who I report to, Dr. Lacone and Dr. Pheasant, which is great. Always so important to make time to see people in person.
So I'm just attending as an attendee and learning a lot. As a general director and food scientist, I didn't have a focus on dairy, but this conference has been very insightful. I attended last year and this year, and just this morning session, we had about, I think, 8 presenters, including a 4-people panel, learning about market trend in dairy business and also health and nutritional implications of dairy ingredients. And it's been amazing learning experience just the 3 hours that I've been, or 3 or 4 hours that I've been at the conference. So, great conference.
There's about 120 people attending from all over the country, as well as some international speakers. I think, building on what Dr. Sue was saying, the combination of marketing tied to dairy and then pulling the science behind it to drive product innovation is super fascinating.
So you have speakers that range from scientists to people who are more involved in the marketing sector, correct? Oh, wow. So that's a really expansive set of knowledge, I bet, that you're just receiving. Wow. And so how many presenters are there in total? I know we talked about this kind of earlier, but just so our audience is aware.
The calculation, I did not count. So this is not exact number, so don't quote me on this. But just this morning segment, we had about 8 presenters, including the 4 member panel. So if you times that 4, because there's 4 segments, morning, afternoon, because it extends to tomorrow, it's about like 30 some presenters would be my guess, my estimation.
Wow. And this is annual every year? Oh my goodness. And who plans this conference, if you don't mind?
It's a combination of the California Dairy Innovation Center and Cal Poly's Dairy Products Technology Center with Dr. Lacone.
Oh my goodness,
So
that is amazing.
They're the core leads for it, but then there is an industry advisory committee that provides a lot of input into, hey, this would be a really good topic. We really need to know about this, and this individual has expertise in this area. And so together, the industry works with them to come up with the program.
Is there anything that's been super exciting? Or, I mean, it's probably all very, very exciting, but anything that stood out in particular about the conference so far?
The scientific information goes way over my head. I am like, it's fascinating, but I'm so blown away by it and I don't understand it. But the marketing information is right in my wheelhouse. I'm very comfortable with that. And that's what I'm mostly interested in. And there's been quite a bit of that. So, yeah.
My takeaway with just the morning session is that the dairy business is booming. It's like prime time now. I mean, there's been ups and downs and, got milk, advertisement and promotion, and I think people are getting it. And so there's a lot of consumption just in the milk area with innovation. If you think of, milk, how can you innovate milk? Well, organic, high protein, and different processing that enables longer distribution and flavored milk, like UHT process. So just in the milk area, but then also learning about the health and nutritional aspects of milk components and ingredients is amazing. You all know that milk's good for you because it's high protein and has a lot of calcium. I don't think it's been promoted as aggressively as it could be, like bone health, brain health, protein health, like bulk up. So there's a lot of different areas that milk can be high performing, but also because there's a lot of awareness nowadays with, okay, we want clean label, we want wholesome food, and milk provides that. So there's that other area of marketing for dairy products, very much so as the product as is. And we've learned about different product categories in dairy. Like cottage cheese used to be kind of old-fashioned thing, but it's coming back as market trend shows that people are really liking cottage cheese with different types of ways that they could eat it. So, yeah. Just with the morning session, I learned so much.
That's all from this morning.
Yeah, just
Oh
yeah.
my
And
goodness.
it's only like a fragment of what I learned. Yeah.
And they look at the market potential and break that down as like, oh, if we just pursue this one category, that's the equivalent dollar amount to having a whole nother yogurt business. And you think of all the shelf space that yogurt takes up in the retail store, and here's an idea that could mirror that. So it tickles your brain.
Yeah, no, that is so interesting.
All right, so we brought you guys on today because we wanted to hear a lot about your career journeys and just your involvement in the industry. Dr. Pheasant, if we could start with you, I'd love to hear about how you got to become the cowkeeper of the PCC. PCC. It sounds like an incredible experience. And just if you could talk on your start in the dairy industry.
This actually is my start in the dairy industry. I've grown up in agriculture. My background is all with tree fruit, so pears and cherries and apples. I've always worked in agriculture, but this is the first time in dairy. So it all came down to relationships and the opportunity to have met Dr. Carmen Lacone. And she has this powerful vision of what she wants to see, not only dairy and dairy processing here at Cal Poly, but what it could look like throughout California and within the Pacific Coast with our partners. And so I see myself as her right-hand person to help make that happen. Because you can't do it by yourself. It takes relationships, and we get to work with super cool people like the other panelists here. And I think it's super fascinating that we're all working fairly remotely. As far as the project, we're working remotely, and it's pretty seamless. So it is possible.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us how the dairy industry compares to the people in the dairy industry and the industry as a whole compares to the fruit industry?
For me, I just love working with people in agriculture. So it doesn't matter if it's a dairy person, if it's a tree fruit grower, if it's a peanut farmer. They're all dedicated and have the passion to doing their very best to produce the very best crop that they can. And to do that with best practices and knowing that they want to continue doing that year after year. So in that definition of sustainability, they have to be practicing that as well. And I just like the work ethics and the approach to life that people in agriculture have. And it's a joy to be part of it.
Hi, I'm Kate Herrera, and we're at Cal Poly asking people what their favorite ice cream flavors are. I'm here with
Andrew Peters.
Andrew Peters. What is your favorite ice cream flavor and why?
Mint chocolate chip, because you can just never go wrong with it.
Aiden? Xavier?
Aiden and Xavier. What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Rocky Road. Mint chocolate chip.
I'm here with
Drew.
Drew. What is your favorite ice cream flavor and why?
I really like coffee because...
Hi, I'm Kate Herrera, and I'm here with
Cole.
Cole. What is your favorite ice cream flavor and why?
I like Rocky Road because my grandma likes it.
Aww.
So
Who am I here with?
Alara.
Alara. What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate.
Who am I here with?
Bridget.
Bridget. What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Mint chip.
Hi, I'm Kate Herrera, and I'm here with
Connor.
Connor. What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Probably cookies and cream
Why do you say that?
because I like chocolate. I like Oreo.
Yes!
Well, folks, you heard it here first. Back to the podcast.
I know we were talking a little bit about social media, so I was just curious, how has the social media and like our modern day promotion of the dairy industry, how has that positively benefited the Pacific Coast Coalition?
That's a great question. I mean, we cover 6 states, and Dr. Pheasant can talk more about that coverage. But yeah, so that's a big geography, and you have to come up with a system that is, low cost and easy to communicate with everyone involved, and that's social media is perfect for that. So, yeah.
And do you think the PCC has grown more awareness because of its presence on social media, or just kind of like...
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, you can see the follower count, rises. We also have a website that we manage information on that. So, and we try to cover information, the same information in both places, the website and the social media, not necessarily at the exact same time, but so people use the website as like a resource library almost to find information, whether it's upcoming events or, archived events or webinars or so that's a really important communication tool for us as well.
Well, grant applicants come to you guys saying like, "Oh, we saw your Instagram. Like, this seems like something that'd be incredible for us."
It's mostly, I would say, social media, word of mouth, and perhaps private consultants who do grant writing, and they're tracking where funding is available, and so then they're playing the matchmaking for that.
And just out of curiosity, what does the PCC look for in their applicants for these grants?
So we've had 5 rounds of funding so far. And we're looking for, well, let me back up. There's basically 2 pots of money within the PCC. One is focused on economic sustainability and recovery from the pandemic. And then the other is focused on product innovation, new product development, that type of thing. So those drive what we're looking for within the applications. And if a dairy business can answer to both of those, then there's even more funds available for their application. And we do the funding based on dollar increments, so usually 50,000, 100,000, 250, but clear up to $1 million. So we have a couple businesses that have been awarded $1 million to transform their business or take it to the next level.
How does this grant process application work? Just in a little bit more depth.
It's about a 5-month process.
Okay.
So we have a couple months where applications are open to be received. So they know that they can apply. We hold some what we call office hours so that we explain what the program is and they can ask questions. And they can do that in front of everybody else that's on the office hours, or we can go into private chat room and they can ask things that are more proprietary to their business. Once the applications are received, we share them with industry and academic partners. And so there's a team that reviews every application. Well, there's multiple teams that view the applications. And then those folks make a recommendation to the PCC, and we follow up. We may ask some more clarifying questions, that type of thing. And then it's just a ranking. And we've had about $50 million in asks, and we have about $12 million available to give away. So it's a big difference in that. There's probably 260 different applications that we've received over those 5 funding rounds. But we've been able to fund close to 37%. So as a grant writer, I'm super excited about that because those are good odds.
Do these grants, can they be really anything within dairy innovation, or are there specific buckets or specific boxes you like to check off?
A lot of the people are using them to purchase equipment. Okay. So it would be equipment that they might not normally have access to, or that will just elevate their business to the next level, or they're needing one more step that they weren't able to do because they had pandemic situations that reduced their income. And so now this gives them just that little boost that they need to do something different.
And then the PCC is funded through the USDA, which is a federal agency. Without getting political, of course, has the allocation of funds with the new administration affected the PCC at all?
In this moment, no. We've had some ups and downs in the last couple of weeks because President Trump wanted to cancel all grants. So that was a very anxious day. At the moment, we're okay, and we're just playing it by ear.
Well, that's good to hear for now.
Yeah.
And I know you had mentioned there being a grant that kind of ended last week. I don't know if that's, can you explain a little bit more about that?
So I was written into a grant, not PCC related, but my role was a dairy marketing advisor for a grant that the USDA had given a nonprofit to facilitate. And the long-term plan of the grant was to build a marketing claim that would address climate concerns. So the working title of the marketing claim was climate smart, and it would be similar to a regenerative claim if you're familiar with that type of agriculture. So currently there's no federal standard for regenerative claim. There is a federal standard for organic, USDA organic, which is the green certification that you see on lots of organic foods, which is an outstanding certification, very difficult to get, very respected. And the federal government said, we want to have a version of that for essentially regenerative or climate smart agriculture. So that was the grant that I was working on. Like I said, it was my role was dairy marketing, and the grant ended last week. So yeah, that was it was a surprise. It was towards the beginning of the phase. It was a 5-year rollout, and we were in year 1. So there was still some time, but once that got to market in 5 years, it would be, pretty impactful for a lot of growers, a lot of consumers to have a better understanding of where their food comes from and how it's grown. And so that's just a small example of a grant that was axed, so to speak.
The PCC has several dairy businesses that have regenerative language on their websites and all, but until you have a standard, it's what does that mean? And so as a consumer, how do you know what that actually means?
Are there any efforts currently being made at even the state level to define regenerative with these cuts?
So you can claim, I'll just put on my marketing labeling hat here. Marketing claims are, you can say almost anything you want to say. What I think what you're talking about is more of a certification, and that has to be a third party organization that involves other organizations. You can't just be a self-certifier. You have to have a plan of how you're going to bring in other organizations to help you certify this. And so California does not have a certification, but however, you can make a marketing claim if you want to, and we have some processors that have that, and that's great. And but in my opinion, working in marketing, I think the ideal is to have a standard around that, so consumers have an understanding of what that means.
And it seems like the dairy industry, just in general, has had so many ups and downs just in the past 20 years. And as professionals within the dairy industry, can you share what you think those lessons you've learned along the way has looked like?
I can start on that. One of the talking points we used in our original grant application with USDA AMS was that California is the #1 dairy producing state in the entire nation. But they've been facing a lot of challenges in terms of pricing per hundredweight, a reduction in the number of farms. All of that is significant. And so the purpose of the PCC was to help transform dairy businesses from reliance on commodity milk and to help them transform that into higher valued products, whether that's flavored milk or yogurt or kefir or ice cream or cheese. It's for them to decide what's best for their business, but we just are a vehicle to help them achieve that.
So as a sensory scientist, taste test scientist, we discuss a lot about consumer insight. And so this morning in the conference, the DMI and the panelists who are talking about market insight, I think the dairy industry has come a long way into understanding consumer insight and how to not just aggregately say, okay, on average of 9-point hedonic scale, that's a 5 or 6, which is a very broad way of looking at it. And then to really go into market research and have consumer segmentation and understand, what is the Gen Z like, or now it's alpha generation, right? Mm-hmm. What does alpha generation like, or the baby boomers, and why is cottage cheese coming back into the scene. And so I think there's a lot of learning that has been had in terms of consumer insights, and shifting and repositioning even the traditional products to be more appeal to different consumer segments. And that's why the dairy business is going upward. So I think that's a learning.
I'd say my learning curve has been sort of grappling with all the experts on social media, and people have an opinion, but it's not necessarily a fact, and that's been a learning curve for me. Is as a consumer, trying to educate myself better around, well, is this true, or is it just somebody, an influencer has decided that they feel this way? So, and then that's as a consumer, and then as a professional working in the industry, trying to clarify that difference better so that people are getting true information and not being misled.
So while we're on the subject of advice from your career, for young professionals trying to get into the industry, what's really hot in the industry right now that somebody in college, fresh out of college, looking to go into a dairy science major or food science major even, what part of the industry should they get into?
Well, communications, of course. Duh. No, truly, honestly, I think it's a great industry. It covers everything from events, event management, PR, social media. So anything that requires communicating and representing an organization in its best light, or a product in its best light. And so if you're passionate about something, whether it's dairy or nuts or beef or whatever it is, you feel like I could be an ambassador for this product because I believe in it and I want to share that, think about communications in that industry.
So I really want to plug in for food science, obviously. And food industry is massive, and it's a very stable industry because everyone needs to eat. We eat every day. It is a growing population. If you like science and engineering, food science is a wonderful field to be. And most of the food science programs boast 95 to 100% job placement in food industry. Within the food industry, there are many ways to be involved: sales, marketing, communication, but also in terms of processing, science, taste testing, flavor innovation. There's so many. Obviously, you can be in specifically dairy industry too, and that's part of food industry. But I'm going to plug in for food science in general. Is a good major to be in.
I'm going to go with whatever you have a passion for, because everything in agriculture, everything in business is in agriculture. And so one of the things we've done with PCC internships is, as long as it's related to the processing side, we fund it. So we've had communications, we've had food science and sensory, we've had maintenance, we've had human resources, we've had marketing, we've had product development. We had one student that was developing new ice cream flavors. It's like, that sounds like a pretty cool job. So whatever you're passionate about, you're going to excel at. And so finding that spot and that niche.
And I think that's really refreshing to hear as Cal Poly students who are looking to pursue careers that whatever we find a passion in can hopefully work itself out. But we wanted to go ahead and thank you for being with us today, for taking time out of your lunch. I'm so sorry. But thank you for being here, and we appreciate everything that you've been able to give us in this podcast. And that's you, me, and the PCC. We'll see you next time.
Program funding for the PCC comes from the USDA. The show was created by Moses Mike, the faculty production lead. Guests for this episode included Dr. Susan Pheasant, Felice Thorpe, and Dr. Soo-Yeun Lee. This vodcast is a production of the AGC 225 class called Digital Communications in Agriculture. The student team that produced the show included Kate Herrera and Chloe Rogers, the directors. Hosts, Morgan Oliveira and Henry Cremers. Storyboard writer, Kayla Shanafelt. Lead editor, Jillian Crow-Juarez. The technical team, Slater Christensen, Jack Dyer, Caleb Carpenter, and Tatum Hillens. The production team, McKenna Machado, Kylie Stroud, Laura Maring, Lindsay English, and Jeffrey Fisher. These credits were read by Kayla Shanafelt. Thanks for tuning in.